my name is Mandy and I'm 32 years old and I have had PGAD, which stands for Persistent Genital Arousal Disorder, also known as genitopelvic dysesthesia, for the last 12 years that I know of. And basically what that means is I have very severe clitoral sensitivity. It's hard for me to wear tight pants. I can't sit with my legs crossed. I can't sit for extended periods of time. My clitoris is very sore, which makes sex painful, and just any kind of stimulation at all of my clitoris is almost unbearable. So last fall, in November of 2019, I went to see Dr. Irwin Goldstein in San Diego because he acquired a Shockwave treatment and thought I would benefit from it. So I flew from Kansas, where I'm from, to San Diego and spent 2 days with Dr. Goldstein, had 2 back-to-back Shockwave treatments. And another thing I should add is I have had pretty bad lower back pain with 2 annular tears showing up on my MRI for the last 2 to 3 years. And after having the Shockwave done just on my lumbar spine, my back pain when I had gone in originally was like at a 6, and my PGAD was at probably a 5. And when I left his clinic, my PGAD was a 0, which is the first time it had been in a 0 in years. And my back pain had gone down to a 1 or a 2. I went back the next day and repeated it and had the same results. I had sort of spiked back up right before my appointment on the drive to his clinic. And again, when I left, I flew home to Kansas the next day, and my back pain and PGAD were both like a 0 or maybe a 1. And then the day after that, after I got home in Kansas, my daughters and I went on a 2-mile horseback ride, which is something I'd not been able to do in years because it's just too aggravating for my clitoris. So after the first 2 Shockwave treatments, I would say I had pretty good relief of it for 2 to 3 weeks. At least the PGAD, my back pain has never gone back to being a 5 or a 6 every day like it was before my first 2 Shockwaves. I went back in January and repeated the Shockwaves 2 days in a row and again. And this time I was not as flared quite as badly when I went in. So I went from back pain PGAD, probably a 3, down to a 0 the next day. I was at a 1 or a 2 and went back down to a 0. Same thing, flew home, 0 back pain, 0 for PGAD, went on a horseback ride the next day with my daughters. And I'm happy to report that after, it's been about 2 months, 8 weeks or so since I had those Shockwave treatments, and this time around my results lasted for like 6 weeks, and it's just been in the last couple of weeks that I've felt the back pain sort of start to return, and the PGAD has really come back to maybe like a 4. So I'm gonna go in and do Shockwave right now, and I'm super excited to feel better.
And what would you rate your back pain at right now?
Right now my back really doesn't hurt. It's maybe like a 1.
Okay.
And my PGAD, just from sitting for so much at this conference, my PGAD's probably a 4 or a 5 right now.
Okay.
Yes. Did another Shockwave treatment, just over 3,000 shocks, and I'm happy to report that I already have noticeable lower back pain. I'm feeling around on it. It's usually very tender, and I'm not getting any kind of pain with palpitation. And I'm also happy to report that my clitoris oversensitivity has also backed off. It's maybe more like a 2 now when it was a 5 before we started. So another successful Shockwave treatment.